Hi, my name's Eric. I'll be reading you selections from the e-edition of the Fall River Herald News. We usually start with the weather. There is no weather in this extremely small paper today, Thursday, January 2nd of 2025. No weather is listed, and there are very few local stories, but we'll read what is there. This will be an abbreviated reading, I'm sure. What's cooking? On the headline is the headline on the front page of today's Herald News. Restaurants coming to Greater Fall River in 2025 by Ashley Schuler. Save your appetites, get ready to loosen those belts. 2025 is bringing a smorgasbord of delicious eats to Greater Fall River, with some exciting and highly anticipated new foodie destinations on the horizon. From upscale experiences to casual dining, from buzzy nationwide chains to the revival of iconic eateries, the new year is serving up a taste of everything. Here's a peek at what the South Coast has to look forward to in 2025. Nacho average Mexican fare. When it comes to Mexican food destinations, Greater Fall River has the whole enchilada, and it will be adding a few more to that list just as 2025 gets rolling. Some popular chains will be expanding along the Route 6 corridor, while another restaurant aims to take the Fall River area Mexican dining experience to the next level. Morgan's Cantina, Fall River Borden Light Marina owners Michael and Nicole Lund, who also run Tipsy Seagull and Pier 52, are putting the finishing touches on their latest Ferry Street project, transforming a storage building on the marina property into a high-end eatery. Morgan's Cantina is gearing up for a March debut on the Fall River waterfront at 1 Ferry Street, where they'll be serving up handmade authentic Mexican cuisine and fresh craft cocktails in a newly renovated space, boasting waterfront views of Mount Hope Bay from every seat in the house. It'll be smaller and more intimate than their other establishments, seating about 55 people, and unlike Tipsy and Pier, it will be open year-round. Fiesta Mexican Restaurant, Swansea, a popular South Coast family-run restaurant chain, is set to bring its selection of simple, savory, no-frills Mexican fare to 1027 GAR Highway in early January. According to Fiesta co-owner Zoel Ramirez, the Swansea location will be similar to its first-ever spot in Somerset, which opened at 117 County Street in 2006 in size and offerings, but the menu will be slightly different. They'll be taking all of their top-selling items across their 7 locations and then adding more taco plates. Ramirez said they also plan on having the best tequila selection in all of Massachusetts. The Swansea site, formerly Umi Japanese Steakhouse, will accommodate 80 people. It comes 1 year after the opening of a fast-casual taqueria-style eatery at 362 South Main Street, their second Fall River location. They also have a full-service dine-in restaurant at 207 Rhode Island Ave. Baja's Somerset, a regional Mexican restaurant chain, will be adding to its roster of 17 locations across Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut with a new home in Somerset. Baja's has announced plans to open at 899 GAR Highway at Brayton Point Road and Route 6 at the site of the former Mega Donuts and Trump store. A spokesperson for Baja's said there is currently no opening date, but they are aiming for a mid-2025 debut. We're working with a contractor to get this job moving forward next year with hopes to get it open by late summer. New flavors in Fall River? Count on it. A not-so-hidden Pleasant Street gem will make its debut in the last days of 2024 as a new speakeasy-themed restaurant and lounge offering a nod to the Prohibition era and a throwback to the city's past. Spearheaded by owners Tina Sosha and Brian Corey, the Counting House has generated quite a buzz with its creative concept, focused on upscale turn-of-the-century vibes with a modern twist. Starting December 27th, customers can stop in at 405 Pleasant Street and get a taste of their unique menu, which spotlights an array of creative craft cocktails and drinks and tasty tapas-style fare, enjoyed in an intimate setting that pays homage to Fall River's rich history. Guests can expect Portuguese and Italian-inspired small shareable plates, from charcuterie boards to dips, cheese boards and dessert boards, and classic cuisine kicked up a bit, with a brunch launching in 2025. Where one iconic family restaurant closed its doors, another will open along the Somerset waterfront. The South Coast bid goodbye to an over 70-year-old local institution last New Year's Eve with the closing of Magoni's Ferry Landing. And now another well-known restaurant family is breathing new life into 681 Riverside Ave. After extensive renovations, it will reopen as Slade's Ferry Grill, a name that pays homage to Somerset's historic Slade's Ferry district. The Gormans, who own and operate Tiverton's Saconet River Grill and Four Corners Grill, as well as Palmer River Grill in Warren, aim to extend their brand while carrying on the Somerset Spot's longtime family restaurant legacy. We would do some new exciting stuff to the building and bring our family's menu and flavor into it, said Dave Gorman, who will run Slade's Ferry Grill in partnership with brother Jim, who's an executive chef, and parents Jim and Christine in a previous Herald News interview. A fall opening has been projected. Fall River welcomes more Indian fare. A city once lacking in Indian food options will be adding another to its growing roster of South Asian offerings in 2025. Following the debut of Kun Kebab and Curry on Bedford Street in 2024, Fall River will soon be welcoming Mona Lisa's Kitchen to the city's south end. New York Fresh Bagel owner M.D. Shahidul Islam, a native of Bangladesh, is planning quite a different culinary venture just across the street from his Jefferson Street bagel shop. Islam plans to turn the former Ed's Famous Barbecue space at 756 Brayton Avenue into an Indian restaurant and grill. A summer of 2024 opening was initially expected, but Islam said it's now looking like early 2025. And popular chains are popping up in Greater Fall River. Lovers of all things chicken rejoice. There are a couple of famous nationwide chains set to take flight in the Fall River area in 2025. Louisiana-based fried chicken joint Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers is bringing a taste of the South to the city's south end, signing a lease last February to move into the space at 323 William S. Canning Boulevard across from South Coast Marketplace. The busy spot on the corner of Newton Street was most recently the home of Family Foods grocery outlet until 2021, which has since been razed. Work is yet to get underway at the property, and Fall River is not yet included on a list of locations on its website. Currently, the closest Raising Cane's is at 175 Highland Ave in Seekonk, which opened in early March. Another popular chicken joint, which opened a location at Fall River's South Coast Marketplace in July of 2022, will be spreading its wings to nearby Somerset soon. Chick-fil-A is expected to open in late 2025 at 564 GAR Highway, off of Route 6. A 5,000-square-foot restaurant with 2 drive-through lanes is slated to be built at Fairfield Commons, which also includes a hotel, a Panchero's Mexican Grill, Jersey Mike's, Starbucks, and an upcoming 120 new apartments. Just down the road, a new retail plaza is also eyed for Swansea, a project that would feature a Chipotle and Starbucks at 718 GAR Highway. A destination place in Little Compton. While not technically new, Simmons Cafe and Market in Little Compton is expected to reopen new and improved this summer with a revamped space and menu. New owner Pamela Huizenga took the helm at Simmons in May of 2023 with plans for a restaurant revival that, in recent months, have also expanded to include another local staple, the Barn Restaurant, located on the adjacent property. Simmons, a longtime Crandall Road favorite, is currently undergoing extensive renovations, but is expected to make its return as a general store and must-stop breakfast and lunch spot by summer of 2025. The Barn, which will close December 20th, is also targeted to reopen this coming summer after some slight updates. According to Huizenga, her goal is acquiring the 2 neighboring ventures. It was to create a locally driven destination place that everyone can enjoy. So lots of food coming to Fall River. That's what's cooking. The other story on the front page of the Herald News today, $426,000 state grant to put South Coast homeless in Dartmouth motels by Emily Sherney of the Herald News in Fall River. A one-time state grant of $426,443.53 from the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, Division of Housing and Stabilization, will bolster efforts to find overflow beds for the city's homeless during winter months. This funding will be used to provide essential services and rent rooms at the Dartmouth Motor Inn and the Capri Motel, read a release from Stepping Stone, Inc., an organization dedicated to providing comprehensive services to unhoused people. The grant will be used to rent rooms at motels along Route 6 in Dartmouth, with $144,230 used to rent 10 double-occupancy rooms at the Capri Motel at 741 State Road, and to offer supportive services, read the release, such as daily meals for 17 weeks. How many Fall River residents will receive accommodations thanks to this award? We'll be able to help 20 people daily from Fall River, Lauren Nowak of Stepping Stone said in an email. The remaining $282,214 will fund 18 rooms at the Dartmouth Motor Inn at 571 State Road, housing up to 36 people from neighboring communities under the Bristol County Continuum of Care, including New Bedford, Taunton, and Attleboro, whose residents will also receive outreach services, supportive care, and daily meals. Nowak explained how Fall River residents headed to Dartmouth will be selected through outreach efforts on behalf of the Winter Overflow Shelter that's run by Catholic Charities via the Bristol County Continuum of Care and First Step Inn at 134 Durfee Street, where outreach workers will collaborate to visit encampments and other areas where homeless individuals gather, distributing flyers and providing information on shelter services and available resources, Nowak said. Individuals seeking shelter are then transported by the First Step Inn's van driver for intake and screening. If space is available, Nowak said, they are accommodated at the First Step Inn. If the shelter is full, individuals are taken to the Timeo Center, or if that is also full, to the Capri Motel for additional shelter. Despite existing shelter and overflow systems in Fall River, according to the release, the onset of cold weather has created an overflow of unhoused individuals that current systems cannot accommodate. Stepping Stone is honored to step forward in assisting the city of Fall River and the Continuum of Care in providing safe shelter and meals to up to 56 individuals in need during this critical time, Nowak said. Moving inside the paper, the headline reads, Police say 2 men are found dead after looking for Sasquatch, by Zach Ernest and Tao Nguyen of USA Today Network in Salem, Oregon. There is no more local news in today's Herald News. 2 Oregon men were found dead in a Washington state forest after they were reported missing last week while searching for Sasquatch, authorities said last weekend. The bodies of the men, who were identified as a 59-year-old and 37-year-old from Portland, Oregon, were located in a heavily wooded area of the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest in southwestern Washington state, according to the Skamania County Sheriff's Office. A family member reported them missing and endangered at around 1 a.m. local time on Christmas Day, after they failed to return from their trip on Christmas Eve. Camera recordings were used by authorities to locate the vehicle used by the pair off Oklahoma Road near the small community of Willard on the southern border of the National Forest, the sheriff's office said in a news release on Facebook. 60 volunteers, search and rescue personnel were called up for what the sheriff's office called a grueling 3-day search over difficult terrain and harsh weather conditions. The search included canine, drone, and ground teams, while the U.S. Coast Guard used infrared technology to search from the air, according to the sheriff's office. The pair appeared to have died from exposure, the sheriff's office said, citing weather conditions and the men's lack of preparedness. The area had been under a winter storm warning with heavy snow in the forecast, according to the National Weather Service. The Skamania County Sheriff's Office would like to recognize the exceptional volunteers who sacrificed time away from their families during Christmas to assist our agency with this mission, the sheriff's office said. These phenomenal volunteers also fought through freezing temperatures, snow, high water levels, heavy rain, downfall, and heavily wooded terrain. Their exhaustive search efforts resulted in bringing family members home to their loved ones. The Skamania County Sheriff's Office extends our deepest sympathies and condolences to the families of the loved ones lost in this tragic incident, the Sheriff's Office added. Sasquatch, commonly known as Bigfoot, is a mythical creature that in folklore is thought to inhabit the forests in North America, specifically forests in the Pacific Northwest. The legends of the large and hairy Sasquatch go back beyond recorded history, and they cover the world, according to the Washington State Military Department. Bigfoot is known by many titles with many different cultures, although the name Bigfoot is generally attributed to the mountainous western region of North America, the Washington State Military Department said on its website. Settlers in North America first reported sightings of Sasquatch during the late 1800s and into the 1900s, the Washington State Military Department said. Those who claim to have seen the creature have described it as a bipedal, ape-like creature, significantly larger than the average man, completely covered in dark brown or reddish hair, according to environmental organization Oregon Wild. There is one obituary in today's Herald News, dated January 2nd of 2025. It's of Florence Devaney of Somerset, who at the age of 87 passed on December 26th. She was the wife of the late John W. Devaney for over 58 years and was surrounded by her family. Relatives and friends are invited to attend her funeral, which will be held tomorrow, Friday, January 3rd, at 8:30 a.m. from the Waring-Sullivan home at Rose E. Sullivan, 866 County Street, Somerset. It will be followed by her Mass of Christian burial at 10 a.m. at St. Stanislaus Church on Rockland Street in Fall River. The interment will take place at Notre Dame Cemetery in Fall River, and a wake will be held in the funeral home today, January 2nd, between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. In lieu of flowers, a donation can be made to St. Stanislaus School, 37 Rockland Street in Fall River. For full obituary tributes and directions, you can visit the waring-sullivan.com website. And we'll close with a very sad national story. A crash stuns New Orleans. At least 15 are dead. The suspect was identified and fatally shot. This is reported by Darren Samuelson, Bart Jansen, Claire Thornton, and Michael James of USA Today. An armed man drove a speeding truck into a New Year's Eve celebration on Bourbon Street in New Orleans' French Quarter early yesterday, killing at least 15, injuring 30 others before being shot and killed by police in what the FBI is calling a terrorist assault. We're working with our partners to investigate this as an act of terrorism, the FBI said in a statement on Wednesday morning. The pickup truck crashed into the crowd at high speed around 3:15 a.m., and within moments the driver started firing on police officers from inside the vehicle, New Orleans Police Department Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick said. 3 officers returned fire, 2 of them were shot, and are being treated in stable condition. Police confirmed with USA Today that the driver was fatally shot by police. Perpetrator was shot by NOPD officers and killed, said Karen Boudry, public relations specialist with New Orleans Police. The suspect in the attack has been preliminarily identified by the FBI as Shamsuddin Jabbar, a 42-year-old U.S. citizen and Army veteran who lived in Texas. Jabbar appeared to be carrying an ISIS flag and was dressed in military gear, the FBI said. An ISIS flag was located in the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential associations and affiliations with terrorist organizations, the FBI statement said. Later Wednesday, FBI Special Agent Althea Duncan told reporters the ISIS flag was hanging from the truck trailer's hitch. She also said the Bureau doesn't believe Jabbar was solely responsible for the attack. Duncan, who's in charge of the FBI's New Orleans office, said authorities also had safely neutralized and removed 2 potential improvised explosive devices known as IEDs, and they're searching for more in the French Quarter. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell said multiple times Wednesday afternoon's news conference that the site of the truck collision on Bourbon Street remains an active crime scene as investigators hunt for details. Earlier Wednesday, Cantrell told reporters that the driver was on a mission to kill as many people as possible. He was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did. This man was trying to run over as many people as he possibly could. It was not a DUI situation, Cantrell said. Hundreds of police officers were in the city for New Year's Eve duty when the assault happened, Cantrell said. The driver of the truck swerved around barricades on his way into the crowd. Cantrell said she and Police Superintendent Kirkpatrick visited the 2 police officers who were shot in the hospital. Considering their injuries, they're doing well, the New Orleans mayor said. Meanwhile, details are starting to emerge about the victims. Tiger Beck, a 28-year-old native of Lafayette, Louisiana, died as a result of his injuries in the driving attack, NOLA.com reported, citing the athletic director at St. Thomas More Catholic High School where Beck had played football. A University of Georgia student was critically injured in the attack and receiving medical treatment, according to University President Jerry Moorhead. I've spoken to the student's family and shared my concern, support, and well wishes on behalf of the entire UGA community, Moorhead said Wednesday in a post on X. New Orleans was due to host the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and University of Georgia Bulldogs Wednesday night in the Sugar Bowl, but the college football playoff quarterfinal match was postponed 24 hours until today at 4 o'clock at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans due to the attack. And with that, we have come to the end of our reading of Fall River's Herald News today. Very little local news in it. Coming up next, the Bishop's blog. This is your reader, Eric, saying, be well, be safe, look after each other. Remember our veterans, especially those we've lost today. Say a prayer for those lost in New Orleans. Bye for now.